now we need to talk about supply and how it could potentially react in this market. So, Janine, over to you. In addition to supply constraints and restrictions that you've already talked about in the market, and you mentioned a few known areas of supply growth that are ramping up or expected to come online over the next couple of years. But there are some times when there are these extreme situations like we're in right now, where there is just such a strong demand pull from a very specific sector, right? Which in this case is defense. And you've also got a period of potentially very elevated prices. And so this can trigger a supply reaction. So question for you is, are there any pockets of potential supply that maybe weren't on most people's radars even just a couple of weeks ago before this war began?
Yeah, so there's a couple of restart projects. One that I already mentioned was the project in South Korea, which was previously producing in the 90s, and they did receive US funding, so they expected to start this year. There was also there is also a restart project in the UK, and they also received interest in US funding or from US funding sources. So those are two potential restarts. However, those are quite well known and probably on the radar. So just in terms of some new projects, there's been a lot of activity in North American funding being awarded to projects in the USA and Canada. And these projects are at various stages, some in pre-feasibility, some in feasibility phase. And this could support project development. And the funding for these projects, these North American projects, appears to be aimed at securing a domestic supply for defense applications specifically. So that does seem to be a motivator, at least in the USA, for bringing tungsten projects online beyond just the price.